What's good, folks? It's Warframe back with a new video, and I'm here reviewing the latest addition in the looter shooter genre, the First Descendant, the beta. Now, where do I start? There are a lot of good things, but good things do not come with a lot of bad. Remember, this is a beta, so things can be bad now, but change for the better in the future. I'll explain the game to give you a general idea and move over to the pros and cons. First off, yes, it's a looter shooter, and it is the love child of Warframe, Destiny, and Outriders. From someone who has played all three, I can see the references and inspiration. So people who came from those games can easily get started in this one, with little to no explanation. This game isn't too great when it comes to the story, but has some great cutscenes. You play as a group of superpowered individuals called the Descendants, here to protect humanity from the bad guys. So there are no classes, but heroes with 4 special abilities and passives. If you're familiar with Warframe, it's pretty much the same thing. As you start out, you have a choice between 3 descendants, and farm the rest by doing quests, special missions, or buy and research them with the premium currency, which kinda looks like platinum from Warframe, mixed with a little bit of silver from Destiny. The good thing is, the first 3 choices are already given to you, so you can change them whenever you want. But you have to level them up individually to unlock new abilities and increase the strength of those abilities. Just like Warframe, you have the Descendants combat level and a mastery rank system, which is your account level, just like Warframe. However, the good thing is the mastery rank up is unlocked behind a 24-hour window, and you don't have to level up weapons to rank up your mastery, just gain XP. And unfortunately, there isn't a mastery rank test. Some may like that, others might not. Your Descendants do speak and have voice lines for certain interactions, but they become so rinsed real quick, since they repeat them way too much. But they are good for co-op play, as your allies will indicate if they are reloading or performing certain actions. You can mod your weapons and Descendants, and even put polarities to lower the cost of the mods, just like Warframe. However, going through your mods, aka runes, is a pain. They all look the same and don't have a proper navigation window, except filtering certain mod categories. Meaning if I want to search for a specific rune name, I cannot. I have to scroll through a bunch of them. Guns are quite similar to Destiny. You have your assault rifles, scout rifles, SMGs, sidearms, hand cannons, snipers, shotguns, trace rifles, but called beam weapons, and tactical rifles, which is similar to a Destiny's pulse rifle. There aren't any unique weaponry like Warframe, but you have variants of weapon archetypes. All the weapons drop from mobs, field bosses, and even boss fights. The shooting in this game is really satisfying. The damage numbers are similar to Outriders, and even the way you move around. Okay, I think it's better if I tie in the pros and cons with each topic, because it'll make more sense. First, let's start off with the missions. They're pretty straightforward. You have exterminate type missions like in Warframe, where you just kill a bunch of enemies and progress to the next point. And there are, of course, the capture the objective missions, which can be quite annoying and over the top if you don't have any defensive ability, mobile defense, and even excavation. However, that will get old and repetitive fairly quickly. The missions are available in the open world map. Each section of the world map has its own designated missions and challenges. The maps are very pretty to look at. However, they're just that. They're very generic and barren, meaning no sign of life or enemies, and only come to life when you activate a mission beacon. Players can join in on those maps and help you out with the encounters, or you can join them and do the missions together. But since there are a lot of missions on a map, that means each player can be in a different section of the mission. Co-op is not balanced and does not match players to the same mission. Meaning, you can have a player doing the last part of the mission and join them, but you're on the other side of the map doing a completely different objective. Movement is locked behind sprinting to get from point A to point B, and using your grappling hook for elevation and hard to reach spots. I enjoy the grapple mechanic, however it's very janky, as you can get stuck in an animation glitch, where your character is trying to land and jump over a ledge. And the grapple crosshair indicator is very hard to see and can be misleading. You can have a clear view of your target, but it doesn't let you grapple onto it, because if you move a millimeter or jump slightly, it will think you're too far away from the grapple point, or the grapple point can target something else. When in missions, you are swarmed with waves of enemies to shoot down. Shooting the enemies can feel very satisfying when you get a new gun. They all feel great to use, but the missions quickly outlevel your weapon, so you have to get a newer, stronger gun, even if it's something you're not comfortable with using. And even if you get a newer gun, enemies can be bullet sponges. Weapons have their own ammo type indicated by the color of the bullets, similar to Destiny. So you know what ammo to look for on the ground when you're out of bullets. And it's highly advised not to have 3 weapons with the same ammo type equipped, as you will end up depleting ammo for all of them. The guns have a very bad reload mechanic. When you empty your magazine, the gun has to be manually reloaded or shoot an empty mag to initiate the reload. You see this? You see, I've run out of ammo, by the way. I have to shoot for it to reload. Like, why? Just reload. When you swap to a 0 mag weapon, you have to initiate the reload, which kills the momentum of the fight. And to counteract this, you need a mod, which is very stupid, basically having to use a mod for a normal gun mechanic that pretty much every shooter has. Your main source of survivability in this game is to kill enemies before they hurt you. You can dodge roll and grapple away to safety, but no point in taking cover to shoot, because you can't crouch and shoot from cover. Secondly, the crosshair doesn't properly correlate to your shots when you're behind cover. Basically what I'm saying is that the shots don't match where you're aiming at when you're behind a rock, because the shots will hit the rock instead of going to where your crosshairs are aimed at. Hence why I said no point in taking cover. You can go behind a rock to get away from fire and reload your weapons, but that's about it. Or use abilities to replenish your HP or pick up health and energy orbs. Apart from being bullet spongy, mobs are very one-dimensional and have 2 functions: either shoot you from afar or rush at you. And enemies don't have a clear outline. Basically, in certain areas, enemies are hard to see, and you can't even tell what they are. And to make matters worse, they can spawn right on top of you and kill you instantly. They don't seem to have any special mechanics except being able to do a lot of damage. Speaking of a lot of damage, enemy scaling is absurd, especially when it comes to toxin damage. That damage type can one-shot you. Only way to survive that is if you get the toxin resist mod, or just be very tanky and block the damage. Not to mention, there are enemies that have met that can shoot you around the corner. So yeah. So much for taking cover, yet again. Getting a new Descendant to play with is always fun. Using new powers against your enemies, it feels like playing and discovering something new, which I really enjoy. However, leveling Descendants feels so trivial and mundane, as the only way to do so is to repeat the same missions. You can repeat the missions you have completed, and that is the only way to farm the XP. But I have had fun playing it, even though I was infuriated by some enemies and mission objectives. It was a breath of familiar, fresh air. The capital city hub is quite similar to Destiny's tower. I love how each important NPC appears on your HUD and can be easily navigated. The objectives in the missions and quests are very easy to follow and straightforward. They do have tough boss fights similar to EIDOLON's in Warframe, but unfortunately these bosses are giant bullet sponges with weak points that hit very hard. And where you fight these bosses, it's in a very generic, simulated map. What I'm saying is, clearly this game has a long way to go to even be considered a competitor against the top looter shooters. I hope this video wasn't too negative, just pointers I wanted to talk over and hope it reaches the right people. Alright folks, that has been it from this video. I do hope you've enjoyed and learned something from it. If you did, feel free to leave a like, share, and subscribe for more content, streams, and so much more. Do refer to the description. Thanks for watching, and as always, peace.